my capacity as president of the Newfoundland and Labrador Head Tax Redress organization to participate in the dedication and unveiling of this granite monument to commemorate the pioneers of Newfoundland's Chinese community. Following the parliamentary apology to the Canadian and Newfoundland head taxpayers on June 22, 2006, a small group of local head tax descendants, supporters, and friends incorporated an organization to further promote an awareness of and education on the Newfoundland Chinese head tax, its effect on the Chinese Newfoundland community, and the contributions of the pioneering Chinese immigrants who made the Dominion of Newfoundland their first home in Canada. In May of 2009, this organization was successful in securing funds for the Newfoundland Chinese Head Tax Education Project from the Department of Citizen and Immigration Canada under a Community Historical Recognition Program. This four-pronged project, spanning 3 years, consists of this memorial, a website, an exhibit, and an educational resource kit for the Newfoundland schools. In partnership with the City of St. John's and the Grand Concourse Authority, we are honored to bear witness to the unveiling of this monument, the first of NERO's four-part educational initiatives. This monument pays homage to the pioneers who set the stage for the immigration of the Chinese people to Newfoundland over a century ago. The Newfoundland Chinese head tax represents one of the worst chapters in Newfoundland's history. It imposed a $300 fee to every Chinese person entering the Dominion of Newfoundland between 1906 and 1949. In perspective, this fee was estimated to be the equivalent of 3 years' wages at the time. Each Chinese immigrant received a certificate to prove the head tax had been paid. No other immigrant group faced this type of discriminatory legislation. People should not forget past wrongs, because forgetting will encourage their recurrence. The effect of this head tax on the Chinese community was devastating. Many Chinese immigrants spent years paying off this crushing debt. Others lost hope of bringing their wives or families to Newfoundland. And for many years, the Chinese community in Newfoundland was a bachelor society. Only in 1949, after Confederation, did these Chinese head taxpayers reunite with long-separated families. Most of these head taxpayers are now deceased, but the memory of their struggles and hardships will live on with this memorial. The Nickel Theater photograph taken in October 1940, as depicted on the poster board to my right, is etched into this monument. It is the most iconic symbol of the Chinese community in St. John's during that time, and many may be the only one of its kind. It is a rare visual document of the Chinese community, a portal in time. It represents the evolution of the Chinese community in Newfoundland, as these individuals had gathered at the Nickel Theater on Harvey Road in October 1940 to raise monies for the ongoing war effort in China. Their efforts gained some public recognition and respect while contributing to a society that had, for many years, had doubted their value as true citizens. We pay homage to those represented by this select group. As mentioned earlier, the Chinese community in Newfoundland also started on this very spot in 1895. This hallowed ground was the site of the first Chinese hand laundry in Newfoundland, and over the years this site was bordered on both sides by Chinese hand laundries. In recent years, the site of the present City Hall Annex, just behind you, the red brick building, was that of the United Nations restaurant, a business established by now deceased Chinese head taxpayers. I'm sure those of you who lived in St. John's will remember the restaurant. The remaining Newfoundland Chinese head taxpayers and spouses, now hobbled by age and ravaged by time, are few, yet the resolve is no less today than it was many years ago. The Newfoundland Chinese have made an enormous contribution to our province and our country. In the past, the Dominion of Newfoundland enforced some immigration practices that were at odds with our sheer commitment to human justice and equality. We had wished that those episodes had never happened. We wished that those practices had never occurred. We wish that we could rewrite the history books. We wish we could relive the past, but we cannot. We can and we must learn from the past. We must assure that future generations do not repeat the errors of the past. The Newfoundland Chinese Head Tax Education Project is one way in which we will educate, address the past, and invest in our future. This monument is a living memorial to those Chinese immigrants who paved the way for us to be here today. We honor the legacy and the contribution of our early forefathers who, in the face of hardship, persevered in the building of the community and established roots to what is now today a vibrant Chinese Newfoundland community. I would like to thank the City of St. John's, Mayor O'Keefe and City Councilors, Communications Manager Elaine Henry, and in particular City Manager Ron Penny for the insight, encouragement, and kind support. We also recognize the efforts and work of the Grand Concourse Authority in making this monument project a reality. Finally, we thank the Department of Citizenship and Immigration Canada for funding this unique project, the first of its kind in this province. The executive committees of our organization are also here with us today, and were instrumental in getting the first stage completed, our monument. I would like to acknowledge their presence. Our Vice President, Robert Hong, Secretary, Dr. Rebecca Law, Treasurer, Hubert Wong, as well as Dr. Marion Wright has been instrumental in working with Robert Hong on the historical research. As well, Peter Soul has been a valuable member of the team in providing design, typesetting, and printing logistics. Without this dedicated group of volunteers, this Newfoundland Chinese Head Tax project would not be a reality. We owe a debt to this group for the countless hours of work in pulling this project together, and there is still much, much more to do. Do take time this afternoon to speak with each of these individuals about our projects. Finally, we look to you to help us with other aspects of our project, in particular the website, the exhibit, and educational resource kit. There are many untold stories, and I would encourage you to speak to any one of our directors to further discuss what you can do to help. Thank you very much.